How could Morrowind inspire Gothic if Gothic came out early? Gothic was released before Morrowind. Gothic was released 1 year earlier. Gothic inspired Morrowind, not the other way around. Released first. I don't want to be this guy, but man, couldn't inspire Gothic. That guy, the original Gothic released a good year before Morrowind. Don't throw shade at one of the most influential RPGs of all time. Okay. So I might have fucked up a little bit. In my big every Elder Scrolls game video, I maybe sorta said that the likes of Gothic were inspired by Morrowind, which, given release dates, is exactly backwards. If anything, Gothic could have inspired Morrowind to some degree. So consider this me making it right. With the remake just recently coming out, I figured it was finally time to play the original, as an Elder Scrolls fan walking into the one series that arguably did it first. There's just one teensy-weensy problem. I've never actually played Gothic. I know, the legendary German-made cult RPG, the one where people half-jokingly credit with repairing German-Polish relations better than either government ever managed. The series that went toe-to-toe with Skyrim's popularity across Europe, and I'd never touched it? So here's the deal. This is my first time playing the original Gothic, completely blind. So no guides, no wiki, no outside help. Just me, a game that famously refuses to hold your hand, and the slowly dawning realization that I might be the single least prepared man alive to be playing it. What is Gothic? Quick context for anyone who knows less about this game than I did going in. Gothic released in 2001, about a year before my mom shot me out of her from a German studio called Piranha Bytes. Rest in peace, 2024. It hit almost instantly as a cult classic in Europe. And the thing everybody praises is the world. It was an entire game set inside one prison colony sealed under a magical barrier that nobody could cross. And unlike basically every modern RPG, the whole design philosophy is a deliberate, borderline hostile lack of hand-holding. With no quest markers and no map, well, not until you buy one at least, almost everything in the world can and will kill you. Your character starts out completely useless, and the controls are, well, we'll get to the controls later. But this was peak Euro jank. Rough at every edge, but absolutely dripping with atmosphere, full of strange creatures and stranger people.
He knows more about these things than anyone.
This accent's killing me. All living in a world that does not give a shit about you.
But some folks would even beat you up for a pickaxe.
That exact uncompromising nature is what made it a cult classic, and what made it a blueprint for later giants like The Witcher. Which brings us to the problem with me playing it. See, I'm a baby bag bitch. My comfort game is Skyrim, the hand-holding machine. I'm used to a glowing marker telling me where to walk in a world that politely scales enemies down to my level. So that's the whole video really. A Skyrim zoomer dropped into a world built specifically to chew me up. So let's find out how that went and if I enjoyed playing Gothic for the first time ever. New game. Let's do this! Let's go! Ah. Our journey begins as the nameless hero, or as some like to call him, John Gothic. John Gothic gets thrown into the magical barrier and stuck inside this prison colony, but not before a mage hands us a letter telling us to deliver it to the fire mages and that we'll be handsomely rewarded for it. But hold that thought though, because that letter is going to sit in our back pocket for a very, very long time. Because about 4 seconds later, a pack of goons jumps me while I'm still woozy from the fall. I get bailed out by a guy named Diego who runs them off and invites me to the nearest settlement, the Old Camp, which I'll soon learn is one of 3 camps within the barrier. Chapter 1, welcome to the colony. Hell yeah, brother. In the second I take control, Gothic introduces itself, the way it introduces everything, by confusing the absolute hell out of me. I'm blue for some reason. See, in Gothic, your left control key is the be-all, end-all button of your keyboard. It's what lets you attack and perform literally any action in the game. So much so that by the end of my first session, my pinky was a tad sore. Oh, so it's Control A and D. Control S is block. Woo! Doggy. So my mouse is cosmetic. And being the Skyrim player I am, the second I found anything lootable, I immediately tried to gobble it into my inventory. Except it wouldn't let me. Because apparently Control D is what moves items from one inventory to the other. Oh, that's weird as fuck. These devs were fucking trolling, but it gets worse. Spacebar draws your weapon. Right click, for reasons only known to God in the year 2001, is jump. So I drew my sword mid-conversation constantly. And here's the part that kind of caught me off guard. Unlike a Skyrim guard grumbling, "Stop that shouting," the people here hate an unsheathed blade. You get about 3 seconds before they decide to run the fade with you. Oh shit.
Put the weapon away.
I got yelled at a lot. And low-key, I loved it. Because I wouldn't love some like nobody fresh off the cliff waving a sword around mid-sentence either. Armed with a pickaxe, John Gothic would face his first foe, a mole rat. Let's go! First monster defeated. But we slayed it easily, mind you. Which of course gave me exactly the wrong idea about this game's difficulty. Because then I spotted a chest upon a hill, and the first element of Gothic's exploration came into play. I saw it, and I went there. It's a simple concept, but one that's very familiar to me coming from the Elder Scrolls. But then I found out this game is freaking dinosaurs. We went from mole rat straight to raptor. These things are called scavengers. Woo! And naturally, on pure swagger and aura, we took down a few of them without much issue. Landing hits was pretty rough though, and over the course of this video, I slowly started piecing together that the combat has like a rhythm to it. Time it right and you can damn near stun lock things. That took a while to learn, the hard way, obviously. But a few steps later, we ran into our first NPCs that weren't named Diego. These being Drax and Ratford. They helped us out with some advice on how to actually beat the scavengers after we gave them a beer. This would be a reoccurring theme in Gothic. I really like that beer is one of the most essential commodities in this game. Want to convince someone to tell you something? Beer. Want to make a new friend? Beer. Gothic is like a divorced dad's wet dream. They could also teach us how to harvest more items from enemies, if we paid them handsomely in ore, which is basically the currency down here. But we were flat broke, so that one went onto the list. We made it to the old camp, found Diego again, and I started asking more questions. Because if everything in this place wants me dead, I at least want to know who I was dealing with. From what I gathered, the old camp is content staying in the barrier. They run the ore trade the king needs, so essentially they just trade. The other two camps split off to chase their own escape plans. With the new camp, the water mages plan to blow the barrier sky high once they've stockpiled enough ore. But naturally, a massive pile of ore attracts unsavory types, so it's more of a lawless land, run by ruffians and outlaws. Then there's the Sect Camp, out in the middle of a swamp, praying to someone named the Sleeper, who's essentially their god, to come save them. These are the bald guys with face tats. Diego tells us that if we wanted to join Gomez's camp and deliver our letter, we'd need Diego's approval. But to get that, we'd first need the approval of 4 of the camp's named shadows, which means a bunch of side content plus his test of faith, which was to go to the mine, get their list of needed goods and bring it back to Diego, and specifically to not let the new camp get its hands on that list. Diego would also double as our trainer for both strength and dexterity, and that's also a reoccurring thing. Leveling up in this game isn't like most, where you dump points into a menu. You have to physically go out and find the trainer for the specific thing you want to raise, which I think is genuinely cool and very on brand for a game that makes you earn literally everything. Walking around camp, we ran into one of these shadows, a guy called Fingers. I'm sure the ladies love him. He can teach lockpicking and pickpocketing, and if I got high enough level in one of them, he'd speak on my behalf to Diego. Problem is, I had no levels yet. So that settled it. It was time to roam around, explore, and grind some XP. What it actually led to was getting my chain snatched by a wolf. And running the fade from a pack of overgrown chickens. Charge! Oh, hell no! Oh! Eventually, we decided to make for the old mine to just grab Diego's list. At night, obviously, because why wouldn't we make it spookier going into the evil forest? It's so spooky, man. And with no map and no markers, make for the mine really just meant stumbling vaguely in one direction and just kind of hoping we ended up there. But we did manage to make it through without any issues. We found an ore nugget. We started beating on the thing with our pickaxe for the better part of 10 minutes. Dude, how powerful is the ore nugget? Give me the ore, please. Give it to me. And got nothing. Giving up on that fruitless endeavor, we headed inside to find our guy and get this damn list. And honestly, this mine was built super coolly in terms of like just game design. There are these winding wooden platforms delving deeper into the mine. The abandoned sections taken over by mine crawlers, which are these spider monster things that hurt super freaking badly. Oh! Oh shit! But we did find Ian down below and got the list without much resistance at all, and then made the trek back through the forest of doom and despair to hand it in. We leveled up, and as Diego puts it, earned some brownie points. Feeling good, I ran back to Fingers. I hate saying that. To finally get him to teach me a skill. But it turns out, just because a man doesn't have a door doesn't mean he has an open house policy. He whipped out his sword and tried to skin me alive.
Get out of here!
Whoa,
You're
whoa.
learning fast.
I barely made it out of his home before getting flayed, which created a new problem. I needed to sleep to reset and to actually talk to people again without getting knifed like we're in London. So we started hunting for an empty mattress we could find. After some sleep and some more exploring, we found the arena, a few other shadows like Scatty, and finally leveled up our lockpicking with fingers. Though it looked like I'd need a few more levels before he'd actually give me his vote. Another shadow, Dexter, tells us about a man in the Sect Camp named Kalam, who's got a recipe for an effective healing potion he'd like us to steal. And finally, we'd get our map by buying it off of him, which turns out is a fucking game changer. Who knew knowing where you were could be so powerful? Conveniently though, standing right next to Dexter was one of the bald Sect Camp members, more than willing to take us there. Following him was the safest I'd felt all game. He took down everything we passed pretty handily, and it even gave us XP whenever he killed something, which is pretty cool. Damn! So we leveled up just tagging along. I'm scared. Damn! Now I don't know what I thought the Sect Camp was going to look like, but what I was not expecting was a bunch of bald religious potheads hitting the hookah and smoking doobies while praying to the sleeper to free them from the barrier. Was I mad though? Not at all. I think about my granny every time I hit the hookah. Kaboom. Kaplow. These guys have a fucking weed dealer who just hands you 3 free doobies a day. And after talking to a few of them, it seems there's a split here between the religious nuts and the gym bros who only joined for the free doobies.
That some people only join us for the weed. Well, at least they help.
Oh, it's cracking me up. But the second I tried to speak to one of them, one of the balls, as they're called, the higher-ups, he just sighed at me. Apparently, it's taboo for someone of lower rank to speak to a ball unless they speak to you first. And here's what got me. I figured the religious camp might be less of a social hierarchy thing than the old camp, but oh no. If anything, it's even more so. Same deal to join. I'd need the favor of the balls. There are missions of varying skill levels I couldn't immediately complete. So I can only imagine the new camp is very similar in some regard, even though I haven't been there yet. Which actually starts to paint a picture. In a chaotic world that devolves into social hierarchies, especially one run by convicts, of course it collapses into these simple little tiers and rankings. The old camp does it through shadows, the sect does it through balls. Every time. But the Sect Camp threw a whole new wrench at me. Half the quest givers here are people you literally can't talk to. The balls only speak to you first. Amen. So instead of a quest list, I got a mystery. Slay piece together how to get each one to like me. And of course, stop and hit the hookah every now and then. Talking to a guy named Joru, he said that if I gave him my daily ration of swamp weed, that's the doobies, he'd give me intel on each of the balls and how to impress them so they'd talk to me.
Get me the weeds, then we can do business.
Well, Kadar instructs novices in the magic of the sleeper, so casting sleep magic on one of his students might impress him. Bal Namib, the one who scoffed at us at the gate, is a tough cookie to crack, but Lester, the guy standing next to him, might be able to help us if we can get him alone. And then for the other gurus, it was really just make yourself useful, whatever that means. We got Lester alone and he tells us that to impress Bal Namib, we'd need to fake that I'd had a vision from their god, the sleeper, to gain his trust.
I have renounced the old gods.
Really? What made you do
This is
that?
fucking
I
hilarious.
had a vision. The sleeper talked to me.
What did he say?
He said, go to the camp in the swamp and join the Brotherhood.
You're a very rich man, stranger.
Our little Broadway act ended up getting Namib's attention, and he asked if I wanted to join the camp, and bada bing bada boom, our foot was in the door. I went and spoke to Kor Kalam, like Lester said. Naturally, I'm told I need to convince the rest of the gurus, of course. And my ADHD having ass had completely forgotten about the original old camp quest to get that recipe from this chest in the first place. Which is the thing about Gothic. It's an absolute nightmare for someone who gets easily distracted. Because there's always another quest sending you somewhere else where you can then pick up another quest and then forget about the first one entirely. Case in point, I walk past Bal Tondrel, that's a crazy name, who offers me a quest. Convince one new member to join the Brotherhood and he'll vouch for me, pointing me naturally back to the old camp. And then I showcased my ultimate skill as it was nighttime, a technique called bed scumming. I only found out about the actual name for it while doing research to write this video. At the time I was doing it completely blind. The gist though, there are times you want to sleep and there isn't necessarily a bed for you to do it. But if you can get into a bed inside someone's house, you can get a full sleep and nothing bad happens to you. Granted, you can also fuck this up. After roaming around camp pretty aimlessly, we ended our first session there. Immediately coming back, first order of business, rip the hookah, got it every time I hit the hookah, then leave the camp and head back to the old camp. On the way, we stumbled on a small trio of mole rats guarding a cave. And this time, we slaughtered them beautifully. The combat had finally clicked.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about, man. Get this shit out of me. Ah!
Inside, we found a dead guard with an amulet, a quest item, one to turn in later. Then we ran into another shadow in the camp, this guy named Whistler. He says that to get his approval, I need to buy a particular ornate weapon from a trader nearby, and he'd even pay for it. Now, unfortunately for him, I'm a master at not returning quest items. So I grew up on Skyrim. If you think I ever gave Nocturnal that damn skeleton key, then you are surely mistaken. And just like that, we had ourselves a brand spanking new sword that did a big old 20 damage. Whistler was predictably not pleased, and I'm pretty sure he'll jump me if I ever go near him again. We followed that up with a real quick quest for the local chef Snaff, who wanted some ingredients we conveniently already had. He now gives us 3 meals a day, every day, for free, which in a game with no passive healing is basically free health. Heading back to Diego, we cashed some of our perk points to level up our strength because after 2 sessions getting my teeth kicked in, more damage felt like the safe bet. Now, I'm not certain if that's like the right call or like the most optimal thing to do when leveling early in Gothic, but in most games I've played, you never go wrong with more damage, so we'll find out. Let me know in the comments like what's like the best things to level early. Things were starting to click and I was feeling relatively good, which meant it was time for some fuckery to put me back in my place. About 3 seconds after talking to Diego, we got shaken down by a guard named Bloodwind who made us cough up ore for protection money. And I soon found out there are 3 of these bastards in camp, each guarding a different zone, each demanding their own protection money, otherwise they'd just kill you. But remember that amulet we picked up earlier? Turns out it belonged to a guard named Neck, the same guy the chef said had gone missing. One of the shadows, Sly, figures Neck defected and wants me to figure out what happened. Do that and he'll vouch for me to Diego. Luckily, we were overachievers and already had the amulet in our back pocket. So we just turned it in, took the XP and walked off with our first shadow actually backing us. Then I got bored, wanted some money and decided the move was to kick the ass of a digger. we don't use the hard R here, all right? And then we take his loot. Unfortunately, despite me dutifully paying my protection money, those same bastards still shot me on sight. So that was firmly out of the question. Now allow me to introduce Kyle. See, Kyle decided to build his hut right in the way of the path around camp, despite being warned.
What's your problem?
Leave me alone, man.
So one day when Kyle came home from doing whatever it is Kyles do, his hut had a brand new second door and the path now ran straight through his living room. Don't be a Kyle. Since I'd leveled my strength and grabbed that new weapon off Whistler, I figured it'd be a grand idea to step into the arena and earn Scatty's approval. This was the result. Oh, brother! Brother, you
Don't
cheated!
try that.
You let me pull up my damn weapon.
Best man wins.
Ow! This
Don't try that
motherfucker
again.
pulls the weapon out before I can move. He literally
Don't
did the
try
biggest
that
jump
again.
step slash of all time. Seeing how inadequate we still were, I took my anger out on some of the angry chickens outside. I'm retarded. And then we got too big for our britches again and tried to re-challenge the wolf from earlier. That, oh my god. Fucking RKO from out of nowhere. That did not go very well, as you can see. I decided it was finally time to visit the one camp we hadn't set foot in yet, the new camp. Leaving a trail of dead bodies in our wake, we made it there, tucked away just inside the mountains. And oh boy, did it set the tone fast. Right at the outskirts of town, there was a rice field where a thug named Lefty asked me to run some water out to the workers. I figured this was easy money. Quick XP, chat to a few people, get the lay of the land. Little did I know this is now apparently my full-time job, according to Lefty.
From now on, you do it every day. Go on with it right now.
In fact, when I later tried to leave the new camp, he and his buddies chased me off with swords drawn because I'd missed a single day of work. So you can only imagine how great it was inside the camp. I tried to get into what looked like a bar to talk to people, but the bouncers wouldn't let me in. Not without a 100 ore admission fee, that is. Which to a brokey like me is frankly ridiculous. So I walked off and went exploring instead. I struck up a conversation with a man named Shrike, who answered my friendly, how are you doing?" with a hearty, "Get lost."
Get lost!
And I took offense to that, literally, and tried to swing on him, but he dropped my ass in 2 hits. Then I ran into a familiar face, a ball, the religious potheads. Except here he was the local weed dealer. He offered to reward us for helping him hand out weed, so he strolled around the camp passing out doobies for 10 ore a pop. Easily our simplest quest yet. Back at the ball, he gave us 3 choices for our reward. Or help joining the swamp camp, or 3 spell scrolls. I was tempted with magic and I would not avoid giving in. I grabbed a scroll of sleep, charm, and fist of wind. Though I didn't actually know how to use magic yet, like control wise, so that's a problem for later. We then found a sketchy looking guy named Wedge, who turned out to be pretty chill, and we learned how to sneak from him. Was this the best use of perk points this early on? Probably fucking not. But now I could sneak. Wanna guess what button they map sneak to? A! The fucking A key! Now, I don't know if you've ever played a video game before, but A is the move left key. A is now also our sneak key, so we can no longer move left without also sneaking. It drives me up the fucking wall. Whoever playtested this must have never touched a video game in their life, I swear to God. Naturally, we put this straight to no good use. Sneaking into people's homes and save scum lockpicking their chests. At one point, I bought a lockpick off a merchant just to use it on that same merchant's chest. We were approaching unparalleled levels of greed and evil doing, and we'd been in this camp all of 30 minutes. Once I got bored of that, we ran into a water mage who could sell us magic and train up our mana bar, so we grabbed a few spells and a little magic ring off of him. Then it was finally time to leave. Where we ran into, drumroll please, Lefty again. Or rather, we ran away from Lefty as he tried his best to slaughter us for not showing up to work. You know how Skyrim is famous for its charming bugginess? Gothic was no stranger to it either. There was this weird one, straight out of climbing mountains in Skyrim. Oh my god. How have I learned this magic? Where if you spam jump at the right angle, you kind of just like surf up the rocks. The catch is you can also get hopelessly stuck. It was bizarre and I kept triggering on accident. It looked kind of cool the first time, but getting stuck for 5 minutes was not it. Hey, I've learned too good. My magic powers, they betray me. We ran around aimlessly some more and turned up a couple of open world trainers, one who could teach us how to harvest more from lizards and another named Cavalorn who could teach us the bow among other things. Somehow that led us back to the mine because I distinctly remember the swamp camp folks mentioning that mine crawler mandibles were valuable and, well, I was broke. Silly me. Oh, silly me, thinking I could fight the evil mine spiders. I ran away like a fucking coward and the nearby Templars cut through them with ease. Ah! Run! Everybody run! I didn't get the XP, but I did get to loot the bodies, harvesting those precious mandibles, which, by the way, were worth jack shit. So I figured these Templars must be overrated. I mean, like, come on. How much stronger than me could one really be? Very much stronger, okay? I tried to fight a single minecrawler myself and got one tapped. Ow! And did no damage to it. We left that hellhole soon after, since there wasn't much else to do, which somewhere or another landed us in a river. See, the swimming in this game has a lovely habit of bugging the fuck out. Every so often, our nameless hero, our John Gothic, decides to do his best impression of a duck, flips fully bottoms up, and then drowns himself. What the fuck? What just happened? But I did make it back near the old camp eventually, killed a few of those bloat file looking guys, and decided that this was about where I wanted to go. 10 hours in, I was about level 4. The map itself is quite tiny, maybe 10 minutes to cross on foot end to end, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in personality. That's what she said. Every square inch is packed with something to find, someone to talk to, or something fully prepared to ruin your day. And the controls, which I shit talked relentlessly this entire video, they eventually clicked. They're not good, they're far from good, but they're playable. And if I'm being honest, half my early suffering was just like, as a Skyrim kid refusing to learn the new controls. That's my verdict, really. I had a frustrating, punishing, occasionally humiliating time, and I loved it. My one real gripe is direction. Gothic is perfectly happy to let you explore and just as happy to let you wander in circles with nothing clear to chase. But the world is alive in a way modern RPGs almost never are. Nothing scales down to make you feel powerful. Nothing heals you for free. Nothing waits for me to be ready. You earn your place in this world, or you don't. And somehow that really did turn out to be like the most rewarding part. Meanwhile, that letter for the fire mages is still in my back pocket. I still can't cast a single one of my spells, and I'm a member of exactly 3 of the 0 camps. And at minimum, 1 guard, 1 shadow, and 1 wage slavery enthusiast wants me dead on sight. Which is to say, there's a lot of game left. So if you want to watch a Skyrim kid keep getting humbled by a 2001 German prison simulator, get this video to 1,000 likes and I'll make a part 2. Drop any other game recommendations down below, and set a little debate for me. Is Gothic 1 the best Gothic, or did 2 or 3 take the crown? Let me know. Thanks for watching.